Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dylan. I'm your host, joined by my blue collar badass, Matt. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing fantastic. Construction is still booming like crazy. We're going gangbusters. Projects are good. I told you last time we met, I finally got my pool heater fixed about 2 weeks ago. Well, the kids were out of town the last week, so it was my wife and I here by ourselves and using the pool yesterday, and it starts making this ungodly noise. It sounded like there was an eagle trapped inside it. And the thing is shaking visibly from side to side. They're here now looking at it, and I walked away when he said the heat exchanger on your 2-year-old heater is gone, and it costs just a little bit less than the whole new heater. I said, oh my gosh. All right, fill it with sand.
Pull in the concrete trucks and put a hot tub on the deck.
Yes, sir. That's what's going to happen pretty soon here.
All right. Well, without further ado, guys, we have an incredible guest who we're super excited to get into his story and really all about the trades. So Steve Turner is a small business owner for the past 30 years in custom upholstery. And like probably all of you know, it's been harder and harder to find skilled professionals, right? Skilled tradespeople, skilled people to do anything, right? Let alone custom upholstery and just the rest of the trades in general. So what Steve has set out, which is going to be the core of today's episode, is really to bring back the trades. So he created a company and organization dedicated to promoting and educating the public on the needs of skilled trades professionals. And it's called Bring Back the Trades, which great name. It's awesome that you got it. To collaborate with local educators, community leaders, local trades, businesses, and all about changing the perception that we talk about here all the time about trades in the educational system. He's doing scholarships for people. Like, this is a truly great organization, a fantastic mission, and something that we're super excited to have you on to talk about, Steve. But first, so welcome to the show. But first thing that I want to get into, and we won't spend the entire show on it, even though I could, is so behind you on your wall is a ton of medals. You want to tell everybody of the race that you just finished?
Yes. Well, thank you too for having me. It's a pleasure being here to tell kind of my story about my life and bring back the trades. But yeah, so I just finished the Cocodona 250. It's actually the second year. It starts in Arizona. They had changed the course this year because we had some fires out there. It was supposed to start like near the airport, but it started, it's awful. I can't remember where it started, but we did a loop. But we ended up in, the finish was in Flagstaff, Arizona. So it was a 250-mile marathon, I say marathon, but it's because of the distance. It's basically through the woods, up over 4 or 5 mountains. The elevation was, I think it was close to 40,000 feet over the 250 miles. We started at 10 o'clock on Monday morning, and I finished Saturday morning, I think at 7:30. So I pretty much ran the whole time. Well, I shouldn't say run, because you don't tell people this. You don't run the whole time. You do running, hiking, walking. You can sleep. A lot of people ask, do you sleep during it? Yes, you do. You pretty much you can do whatever you want to do as long as you can get there in 122 hours. In that time, you can sleep for 20 hours if you're fast. So you can do whatever you want. I only slept an hour and a half because I usually have a team that goes with me, a crew that goes with me. All my races, I've done that. This year, I wanted to see how psycho I could be to do the whole thing by myself with just the backpack. So when you do a backpack, you don't carry like your sleeping gear, and you don't have tent stuff, because a lot of crews, they have trucks where you can get in and you sleep. I hit all of the camps to sleep either during the day or really late at night when it was really cold. So I really couldn't sleep, because once your body temperature gets down to a point where you're really shaking, you shouldn't do that. So make a long story short, I slept, I think, an hour and a half in the 5 days.
First of all, that's incredible on a lot of fronts. I have considered myself a runner at certain times in my life, and I've done a few 5Ks. I ran a 10K once, but that is the absolute extent. To even consider running for that length and that amount of time is just, it's mind blowing to me. But it speaks really highly to your mental toughness, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, a little bit later. But you know, being in the trades and being involved in construction, grit, determination, mental toughness are such huge attributes. So congrats to you, man, just for even having the stones to register for something like that. And Dylan, you've done a few similar events. I don't know how you guys do it.
Well, I can say this, you don't really know the whole journey, but in 2016, I weighed 250 pounds. I lost the weight by going from telephone pole to telephone pole. Literally, I couldn't get from one telephone pole to the next. So I gradually, within a year, I lost a lot of weight. That's how I got hooked on the running. But you know, when you say you can't imagine it, you can if you really. It's being passionate. I have friends that golf 5 times a week. They're passionate about it. They get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and they can't wait to hit the links. I have people that go fishing for tuna. They're out there for 3 days. We all have our little gift. I have a customer that came in the other day and he was, you know, picking up his car and he's like, I can't imagine what you do. He's an F-16 pilot or whatever the one that Tom Cruise is flying. I'm like, what you do flying at 9 Gs? I mean, come on, you can't imagine what I do. I can't. So we all have. I like to just tell everybody we all have our strengths.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, like, so just for reference, so 250 miles, you did it. What was your time to finish?
116 hours. I came in, I had like 5.5 hours left.
So that's, yeah, like 6 days, 5.5 days of time to, or yeah, 5 days, like just under 5 days of time running pretty much straight through, climbing 40,000 feet. So you climb 8 miles over 250 miles, of course, in the Arizona desert in June, for everybody listening.
And we also had to cross 2 rivers by rope.
And well, and it's monsoon season in Arizona, and Flagstaff is at 7,000 feet. So you don't start at sea level. So, or 8, whatever Flagstaff's at. Because everyone, like, or for me in my mind, Arizona is like low, but that is not the case. So to give everybody that those insights to it, and then on top of that, to self-support for a race, most people don't even do that for a marathon, let alone 10 of them back to back. So to do all of that is, I mean, it's incredible. Like, I've been chasing 100 for a few years, and getting over the night and being out there alone in the middle of the woods and, you know, worried about a bear or cougar or something else to jump out and get me, or falling off a cliff. Like, those are legitimate things actually to like get through. But for everybody out there, like, you know, doing your local 10K, doing a half marathon, a marathon, you know, getting up into ultras when you're, you know, doing things in the woods in the daylight, not the middle of the night, you know, is totally possible, totally doable. And just to give you an example, so Steve, I'll let you tell the story of the woman that was in the race that you were just in.
Yeah. So, you know, I was telling you earlier that, you know, I always come out of these races proud of myself, but prouder of somebody else. There was a woman, there was 2 women I'll talk about, but there was a woman that had one leg taken off she was, I don't know what military she was in. I don't know if she was in the Army, but anyways, she was running with a fiberglass leg, and she was also running with a flag to represent all the fallen. She finished the race running the whole race, not only with only one leg and a fiberglass leg, but the flag never came down. I mean, you can't picture what we go through, but to have the arm up like that, if you've ever tried to hold your arm up above your head for a certain amount of time and you sit there in the blood pressure, for her to do that, you know, it just blows my mind, that because she's so determined. But I also ran with a woman that was 62 years old and about 5'2", and she finished 15 minutes behind me. So I'm telling you, these races, it's all about determination. Life, I hate to say it, but life is about determination. It's really what it is. So, like I said, I love these races because I meet so many people. It makes my passion for bringing back the trades even stronger because, like, I know I can do that. So if I can do that, I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'll tell one last endurance story and then we can go over to the other passion here is construction. But so I really encourage all of you to go and with Ironman's coming back is to go and be at the finish line of an Ironman.
Mhm.
Now, Ironman historically starts at like 7 a.m. and the first wave of people are the super fit guys. They're going to finish in 8 hours. So they're going to finish at 3-4 o'clock. You can go and watch those guys finish. It's on a Sunday, typically is when the races are. And you can go watch those guys. They're in tremendous shape. They're 6% body fat, lean guys, super fast. They're running a, 2.5 hour marathon. They're doing 30 miles an hour on a bike. They're swimming 2.5 miles in under an hour. Like these guys are true elite athletes that are finishing, at the front of the pack for an Ironman. But really the more inspiring thing is when you start to get around and this is like the time frame that I finish in, is the 14, 15, 16 hour finishers, right? So Ironman finishes at midnight, or that's the cutoff is midnight for whatever place you're in. So it's 17 hours is the time frame. And you'd be amazed at the people that you see crossing that finish line at 10, 10:30, 11, 11:30. These guys are of every body type, of every age, ethnicity. It really doesn't matter. You see a 23-year-old sucking wind, or he quit, after the, halfway through the run, right? Because an Ironman's a 2.5 mile or 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 mile run. So, and you do that back to back in a day and you have cutoffs through the day. But the thing to remember is that like most of the 23-year-olds blow their wad by, the the start of the run. So they're completely shot, right? The young guys, like Ironman is traditionally like the winners of these races are between 35 and 45. Like that is the main winning age bracket is like 37-year-olds for Ironman. You get a few guys under that, you get a few over, but that's like the bracket, even for Kona for the world championships. So, but when you're there at 10:30, 11, 11:30 at night, you see guys that like weigh 280 carrying a keg. I mean, these dudes are huge. They're big guys. And you're like, how in the world is this guy who looks like he just downed a case of beer before he came out here doing, 140 miles, right? Like 140.6 miles in a day. And then behind him is a 72-year-old grandma who's 5'0", weighs, 100 pounds soaking wet, and she's trudging along in the span of 2 minutes. And everybody is so excited because they're finishing this huge event. So,
and I can sum that up real quick.
Yeah.
I went with a guy at Cocodona. His name was Steve. And I had to leave him at, I think, 200 miles because his feet were starting to bother him. We had run together for a day and a half. We became best friends. He was from Canada. Make a long story short, I really didn't think he was going to finish. He was the last finisher. He finished with 1 minute and 30 seconds left.
Oh, wow.
But this is not the best part. I was so proud because not only did he make it, when he got to the end, they had to rush him to the hospital because his feet were so bad. They put him on the cover of Ultra Running magazine.
Wow.
I think that is good because you know what? It's not about the elite people that deserve that, because what he went through, his pain level that he had to endure, he couldn't even, I mean, he was on film the last 3 miles. He couldn't stand up. All he could see was his feet, and they kept pushing him and pushing him. He minute 1 minute and 32 seconds left and he finished it. But they put him on the cover. I thought that was brilliant because you know what? It's not about elites. It's about the person that's it's easy, and I hate to say this, but when you're young and you're strong, it's easy to do what they're doing. I'm not saying it's easy, but for what he did, it's way harder.
Oh, for sure. For
Way harder.
sure. That's incredible.
I mean, I was so, I almost cried because it's like, I was so happy. Not only did he finish, that he got the cover because he deserves it.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that's awesome. It's a testament to the power of mindset.
Yep. So let's get back to bring back the trade.
Yeah.
So back to your regular scheduled programming here. So no, but I mean, I think this is a perfect segue because I mean, you talk about these races, doing this mental toughness, but I guess start with you having a business and being in custom upholstery. That is a very unique trade to be in. So how in the world are you in custom upholstery?
Well, to say it's a unique, when I started in 1981, it wasn't. So it wasn't, I mean, there were shops when I opened, and I'll just say real quick, when I opened my shop in 1989, the phone book, we had, I think, 20 upholstery shops in my surrounding areas.
Oh, wow.
It was popular. It really was, because a lot of the older guys that are retired now, they came out of the armies, they were sewing parachutes, they were doing all, so they started, sewing and stuff like that. So they got into it. But so my story is I own Turner's Upholstery in Rye, New Hampshire. I started my company in 1989. I just celebrated my 34th year in business. Well, I will be this December.
Congratulations.
How I got into my trade is really why I started Bring Back the Trades, because in 1983, I was in high school. I was a sophomore, and I wanted to quit school because I really didn't like it. And my mother says, "No, you're not quitting." Well, in my school, we had nothing but trades. We had automotive, welding, all these trades. And I loved cars, so I took up auto body. So on my second year, I actually that was going to be my job. I was going to graduate and I was going to become an auto body technician. I love painting cars. Well, I was working at Shaw's in the produce department. And there was a little business card that said sweeping floors at upholstery shop. I said, I'll go check it out. So I went there, and I didn't even know what upholstery really was at that point. I thought it was furniture and stuff like that. So went there, took the job. For my junior year, all my job was cleaning the floors, cleaning the toilet, going to the bank, doing whatever they wanted me to. The second year, started helping the guys, and my boss really liked me. He gave me the keys. He goes, "Hey, if you want to start working on your car at night, you can do that." So started doing that at night. And then I graduated. In 88, I worked there for a year. And if you remember, well, you're way too young. In 1989, we had a really bad recession, and he laid everybody off. So my father says, "Hey, I got this little tiny garage. Do you want to make a go at it?" And I'm like, "Oh, I can easily do that." So I had $3,000 in my pocket. I went out and bought a sewing machine and started my business. And, fast forward to now, I've got one guy that's been with me for 17 years. But in 2016, we wanted to grow because, we do high-end stuff here. I'm in a very fluent area. So we have more customers coming in, just like the plumber, the electrical guy, the welder. They can't keep up with it. So I was trying to get help, and I kept putting ads in the paper, and all my friends are coming over saying, "Man, we can't get the younger kids to get into the trades. They just won't get into the trades." So in August of 2017, I came up with the idea of Bring Back the Trades. And this is where it gets weird, because this whole thing wasn't like my idea. So I did come up with the idea of Bring Back the Trades. I called a friend of mine, which does all my embroidery. I said, "Hey, can you make me up a hat that says Bring Back the Trades?" He goes, "What do you want on it?" I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, do you want an emblem or something on it?" I'm like, "Surprise me." So you put a hammer and a saw on it, wearing it around my shop. I don't know if it was a week later, one of my contractor comes down. He goes, "Where'd you get the hat?" I said, "I made it." He goes, "I need 12 of them as soon as you can get them." I'm like, "Sure." So I called up Rich. I said, "Hey, can I have 12 of these hats?" It's like, "Well, for what?" I'm like, my contractor wants them. So gave them to him. Week later, electrician comes by. "Hey, I was just on his job site. Can you get me one with electrical Logo? Sure. Another week goes by, guy comes by and says, hey, can I have one with a plumbing thing? So I'm like, So I started making them and selling them. And I had a Facebook page, but just started a bank account and was putting the money in there. And then one of my friends comes by and he says, hey, what are you doing with the money that you're raising? I says, I really don't know. He goes, my mother just passed away, and I'm going to give the money to our trade wing school over at Portsmouth High School, which is where I graduated. Why don't you take the money and start a scholarship program? So I came up with the idea. The contractor said, build the hats. And then he said, so it was a community thing that got to bring back the trades. And then it started to grow. And then a friend of mine worked for me for a year. He did all the paperwork, got me a board. So she did all the administrative stuff, got the board members, did all the paperwork for the 501c3. She did all that. And fast forwarded to now where we're nationwide. We got apparel. We're giving out a scholarship every single month. We have a race car that's going around the racetrack right now on Trans Am Series. We're sponsored by Timberland Pro. We're going to be on 2 TV shows this summer. I mean, it's cranking right now.
Well, that's fantastic, and it's really cool to hear the origin story. I had not heard that as of yet, so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, so it's not just me. I mean, I did come up with the idea. My wife, she works, I don't know how many endless hours on this. My son, and I want to say, we're not against college whatsoever, bring back the trades, because my son, he tried to work in my shop, and he's like, Dad, I really want to do sales. I'm like, that's fine. So he went to Quinnipiac, graduated, got his master's. He's working in Boston. He's doing really well, but he's at every event that he can be at. He is, believe it or not, when he was a senior in high school, he was taking marketing. He came up with my brochures to get me going. So even though he's not, it's like a family affair.
Well, that's a cool story, because what we're about on the show here is not anti-college, not anti, so-called professional work, but that it's not for everybody.
Yep.
Right. There's a certain mentality that's going to succeed at college, and there's a certain mentality that's probably not. And bolstering up the trades and pushing the commitment to get back to the blue collar worker is what Dylan and I do every week. So again, we've been real excited to have you on the show.
Yep.
I will tell you that my family, we run a nonprofit, unrelated,
Yep.
but you're downplaying how much damn work it is.
Oh my God.
And we're only doing it regionally. We set up the 501c3 and all that. We do all that. We do, we put on events. You're absolutely downplaying the work. And if you're nationwide now, how are you doing it? Do you have a staff now? Do you have?
Yeah, I'm building a staff now, but like I told you, I can go hours and hours and hours. Like literally, my day consists of, I get up in the morning, I do bring back the trades. I do bring back the trades all day. I'm lucky my guy is wicked talented. I've been doing this long enough that I can almost do it in my sleep. But, I go for a run at 10:30, I come back. I go for a run at 4:30, I come back. And then at 10 o'clock, I go for another run. So I instead of doing long runs, but I can do, I hate to say it, these are our worst enemies, but I can do so much with this little thing. And like I said, my sponsors, I've got so many people that are so passionate about what I'm doing. Like Doug, I'd like to mention Doug Winston. He's the number 98 car driver. Do you know Doug?
So I met him on LinkedIn. He'll actually be our guest next week.
You're going to love him. He has done so much for me. It's hard to believe with social media. He called me up, did a Zoom with me, presented that he wanted me on the hood of his car. And I'm like, this can't be right. There's no way. I said to my wife, this isn't going to happen. But I'm telling you, that guy, whatever he says he's going to do, he does. He has done so much. I'm so thankful for everybody that's helped me, but I can't say enough about Doug. He is just a super, super hard working. And I'm telling you, whatever he says, he gets it done. I think we have the same kind of mindset where we just put our heads down and we focus. But I have Timberland Pro, which is my biggest sponsor. They give out gear to every single scholarship winner. They give out boots, hat, gloves, sweaters, sweatshirts. So I've got them in my ring. every day I'm getting more and more sponsors. So I mean, it's huge. And to let everybody know, our scholarships are available in every state in the United States, and you don't have to be. We're trying to get kids to go back in the trade. So most of our most of our kids that are applying for our essays are going into trade schools. But I want people to know that if they're already in there, as long as they haven't graduated, they can apply for one of our scholarships because we pay the school directly.
I mean, that's beautiful. Like so this is one of the interesting things that I came across somewhere, that the average age of the person entering the trades is like 30, like 28, 30. And that actually tracks. So I just did a bunch of friends. My wife met up for her 30th birthday. So it kind of gives you an age group of what I'm in. But in that, we went down to Austin, and one of the girls, her husband I think he's like 32, and just got into the apprentice program at University of Michigan for their elevator technicians,
Yeah.
which has like a mile-long waiting list
Mhm.
to be in that. And he loves it. And it took him, I mean, he worked at Michigan for a few years, but had been trying to find like, what was the thing that he was going to do. And I find, or his story was so interesting in that, didn't know, like college wasn't necessarily for him, like picked up kind of odds and ends jobs, like, but never really found a place that he really fit.
Yep.
And now, being in the elevator union and working on those, like, one, it's like the most specialized you can be.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
But for him, like, became really like a family, a brotherhood, some place that he found that he fit really, really well. And I find that a lot of people get lost. And so like that 30-year-old person, they didn't know what they wanted, or they went on a different path in their 20s, and maybe they went to college, maybe they didn't, maybe they found they went and did the office job and found that wasn't for them, or went to corporate or whatever it might be, and then come into the trades and they're like, man, it's like I'm back in high school playing on a sports team, and everybody cares about me, and we're all here to win, work together, and we work hard, and we bond through a lot of that. And I think that, just like you're saying, and how people really gravitated to the mission and the cause, with something as simple as a hat, it really goes to show, the power of community, and a guy just being on a job site, seeing it and cares about it. It wasn't, yeah, they wanted their logo of a lightning bolt or a wrench, but
Oh yeah.
but at the end of the day, it was all about the trades, right? And bringing people into the trades.
Yep.
And I think that's so powerful in the community, the power of community, and that it's competitive, but at the same time, like, you need everybody to be in one trade or another.
Yep.
And so like, I'm also curious too, like in upholstery,
Yep.
what type of upholstery are you doing? And, how'd you find the guys that you have?
Well, when I say upholstery, we don't do just upholstery. So in my business, we do wiring, we do welding, we do construction, we do fiberglass. So basically, we do everything on the inside. We do glass work.
Like
We don't-
everything in the car, right?
Yeah, we don't do exterior paint, but we will have to paint parts. So we do sewing, we'll do welding, like what I just said. So basically, my trade, we touch them all.
Huh.
We touch everything. So it's not just one thing. And that's what's the hardest thing, because in order to make my business grow, and the guy that I've had with me 17 years, he came from California because his wife wanted to move to New England, but he came from a family of 7 upholstery shops. So he grew up in it. So I got very lucky, and he's been with me 17 years. So I make sure I keep him happy, so he stays. But so in my job, we don't just do one thing. Every single hour is something different. So that's what is good about the trades too, because a lot of the trades, we're not doing the same thing every minute. And like my son he's already been in, sales for 2 years. Like, Dad, all I do is sit in front of the computer all day long. And I'm like, Riley, that's kind of what you chose, but that's a lot of, like you were saying, a lot of the executives are leaving. I have 2 friends that left Wall Street and opened up small engine repair because their parents were in that. They grew up in it. They went to school, they made their money. And now one of them one of them went from a small engine repair. Now he bought out a huge company where he's selling tractors. So he's back in the trades again because he's like, I just can't sit in front of computers all day long. So we're getting that. But before I get off track, what I'm trying to get across at Bring Back the Trades more than anything, I always thought when I first started this, it was about the kids not wanting to get into the trades. It's not the kids. It is the kids. It's more the parents. And the reason why the parents really, I'm not saying they're against the trades, they're not educated of what the trades are. All they think of, because I do a lot of surveys, the parents still think of the trades as their grandparents' trades. They're dirty, they're unsafe, long hours, low pay. I mean, we're doing a lot to help that with TV shows and this and that, but that's why I started a YouTube channel, and we're not doing them now because the schools are up. We do once a month, we bring a trade school on. We do live streams on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. We'll bring the school on, we'll bring the administrators on, and we show videos of the kids working because we're trying to get the parents to realize what's taught in these schools. Like the one that people really don't know about is manufacturing. I mean, they think of manufacturing, you just sit there and you just do the same thing all day long, which you do sometimes, but manufacturing is not like it used to be. You can eat off the floors in a manufacturing plant.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have, I mean, the one down the street, I toured it, they have daycare, they have a pool, they have a basketball court, they have vending machine. I mean, they can't get enough people to work there, but I'm like, because people don't know your job. You're not showing the people what your job is. So I think that's my biggest thing is I've got to not just, with the trades, you can't just talk about it. You got to show the parents what the trade is. Get them like, wow, like parents don't realize if they went into their cellar and looked at their furnace, how much computerized stuff there was in their furnace. And that it's not just the guy that comes down with the butt crack showing and hitting it. And you have to have a class to be certified. There is so much knowledge. I mean, you remember back in the 2000s when IT's jobs became really popular and everybody looked up to the IT guy. Your plumber is an IT guy. Your welder is an IT guy. Your construction guy is an IT guy. But that's what we're not getting across. We're not explaining the jobs the best that we can.
You're spot on. And my pool guy out here who's tinkering with my heater, he's a controls expert. He's a welder. He's a pipe fitter. He's the list goes on and on and on. And
I'm going to interrupt you because I get this all the time. And they're worth every penny that they're worth because I get it all the time. Yeah, my plumber came over, but I got this really big bill. Yeah, and he's worth every cent of it because what time did you call him? After hours, right? You're going to go to your job after hours and go in there without getting paid big bucks. So that's another thing I'm fighting because they don't think that they're justified the money that they charge. And I say, what's the difference between you being at your job for 30 years and you climbing the ladder and a guy owning a company for 30 years? Shouldn't he climb the ladder just like you should?
absolutely. You're not just paying for the service, right? You're paying for the years of grind, for all the tools, for all the training, for all the know-how he's accumulated. And I always like to look at it because as a construction guy, I'm also pretty arrogant and I think I can fix everything myself and do it better than everyone else. I finally reached that level where I'm like, there's no way I'm going to touch that pool heater. I could go break it and I could spend 5 times as long as this gentleman out here at trying to fix it, and it still won't be nearly as good.
Yeah,
and
I found that same problem.
And if you look at your time cost and your, what you can make an hour doing what you're best at,
Yep.
It's a real easy equation then to start to add this up. But you're right, to bring that mentality shift to those that aren't primarily involved in the trades has got to be a big challenge.
Well, I just had a plumber come by today that wanted to sponsor me again. He's been sponsoring me since day one. He brought a check by today, and I said, "How's it going?" He goes, "People are just getting harder, and they just think that I had to go up on my labor because gasoline prices. I'm traveling 45 minutes to get to a house, and I had to put a surge charge in. And I'm like, well, the customer said, well, that's not my fault. Gas prices went up. Says, well, it kind of is because I'm here to fix your thing. I'm not eating it. But they just, the way they talk to these people sometimes, it's just, and I understand people don't, without knowledge, and that's where we go back to explaining to the people what's involved. If people knew what that plumber did all day, they'd be like, oh, now I know why it costs so much. Like everybody knows, if you go back and get your master's degree in something, you get a pay raise. It's like a plumber. We have to do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, and on the other side of that, like the thing that I think we can also help the trades in is, what's it worth for your wife to not sweat her ass off in the summer to fix your HVAC? What's it worth for your toilet to not be overflowing and poop going through your entire house?
Yep.
Is that worth a few extra dollars
Yep.
at 10 p.m.? I'm pretty sure you would not like to smell that all night, but that's the conversation, right? Like,
Yep.
what's it worth for you to not have your wife? Is that worth an extra $300 for your wife to not complain at
Yep.
you and rip your head off? I mean, but it's funny, but that's the conversation.
I mean, there's the doctor and there's the emergency room. The emergency room costs more than the doctor because it's called emergency. That's what an after hours job is. It's the emergency room.
Yeah, we are totally with you on that side of it. And just, for all the trades out there too, like it's having those talk tracks, it's making light of it. It's having a little fun with your people. You are going in their homes and having, intimate kind of dealing with them, right? You're going into houses by and large for, all the residential side of it, or an emergency thing. And even if you went into an office, like, well, what's it worth for your clients to not be sweating through their, dress shirts, right? Their $2,000, $5,000 suits to have a meeting, is that worth $300 extra?
Mhm.
Right. And like, but that's the thing. We're not talking like it's a few $100s, it's not 10 grand in extra fees by and large that we're talking about to do it. It's a little additional for the hourly to get out there. It's $50 extra in gas.
Yep.
Like it's not, it shouldn't be, if you're worried about $50, you've got bigger problems than your heat not working.
Exactly.
So, but on the other thing I'd like to come back to a little bit is in manufacturing.
Yep.
So just a quick thing. So I used to do a lot of, so I'm an electrical engineer by trade. We did a ton of arc flash studies, going into a ton of manufacturing facilities all across North America.
Yep.
And in doing that, one of the places that we went to that I think this is most unique. So it's a casket plant. So they made caskets. And after 9/11, they donated like 3,000 caskets
Yep.
for 9/11 to New York. So they all went up there pretty much immediately after and did a lot of good work for things like that. But it's a it's a product that nobody ever really wants to buy.
Yep.
But again, it's one of those that ultimately all of us are gonna
Can't get away from that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But in it, I mean, they made in some plants they made wood, so that it was a high skilled trade. They made anywhere from a simple pine box to an elaborate, mahogany
Oh yeah.
casket. And then they had metal stamping, and they took in raw sheet metal, stamped it in the facility, and then had a casket on the other side, which again in and of itself is a big manufacturing piece.
Yeah.
But to the point on benefits and it being more than just a job, they had an on-site clinic.
Yep.
They had doctors that paid, basically, that were there with a doctor and nurse practitioner, that anybody and their family, right, immediate family, could go to the doctor basically for free from the employer as benefit. And so to your point of, well, it ended up being cheaper than insurance, but like,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's a huge benefit, right? They built a clinic, they did everything for that. It was all on site. It was there for them. And they did these, I think, at every facility that I was at. So at like 3 or 4 of them. So in that, I mean, this is a huge benefit, right? To have from a manufacturing facility of something as, say simple, but some of these were quite grand and elaborate. But as a manufacturing process, like to have this type of benefit, to you're talking about like sports facilities and teams and doing all these things. There's a lot of manufacturing plants. Like I did a lot of work for Ford at one point. They had a ton of huge benefits for their manufacturing plants. They pay very well, tons of benefits, tons of other things. You know, they were big sponsors of every, you know, intramural and adult league of, you know, of beer volleyball. You know, is really you drink beer and sometimes play volleyball, or, you know, whatever those sports are.
Yep.
But like manufacturing on the other side of it, and then you have all the trades within that, right? The electricians, the plumbers, the pipe fitters, the welders, the technicians, controls guys, through all of that. And I think that's a great point that you bring up in the manufacturing side of it, and to not forget, you know, what happens inside of four walls,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know, can happen, you know, in a home and a lot of places.
Yeah. And what I'm doing now is we just bought a 18-foot trailer. I don't know if you saw that. So we just bought an 18-foot trailer, completely logo that. We're going to start going to schools. Now the schools are open up again, because what I was doing before COVID, I'm a firm believer, schools will call me, hey, can you come do a speech? And I'm like, no. Speeches with trades kids don't work. You go up there, you talk for a couple minutes, they're like all over the place. And the reason why I know that is because I'm one of them. I can't, that's why I'm a runner. Just put me in the direction and I'll go there. And I'll try not to go, but that's why I'm so successful in what I do, because I'm all over the place. But what we were doing is going into the auditoriums, and I have all my board members and sponsors. They would bring in, like, I have a plumber that would bring in, you know, a furnace. I have a guy installs Pella windows. He'd bring a window in. I would bring my sewing machine in. 10 kids would come in at a time, and they would touch and feel the tools and learn what's going on, and get them interested and show them what the trades are, because it's just not going to work by talking. So with the trailer, I'm hoping that we can go to schools and do mini, you know, little fairs with the kids, and then get more and more sponsors to come and start getting involved and doing big days and stuff like that. So that's my big to do this coming year. But what I'm starting to, you know, advertise is that, you know, I'm always thinking of different ways to get the ball rolling, because I have a lot of people that follow me on, you know, all of my social medias. I have big companies. I'm like, they're not getting involved. But what I'm saying now is, you know, I am the person that's giving out the money to the kids to go into the trades. There's a lot of people out there that are they're talking. They're doing all the talking, which is great. Don't get me wrong. But my philosophy now, I give out one scholarship a month. So that's 10. Probably give out 11 this year. I'm getting hundreds of scholarships, essays a month. So that means all those kids aren't getting financial help. So if industry really wants to fix this problem and get kids into the trades, we need to financially help them. Because I know a couple of them, I don't know all of them, that decided after not getting financial help, they got too stressed out and they didn't go. Because what people don't realize, it's not like college where you can go get a loan easily through Sallie Mae. Sometimes you can't get a loan to go to a trade school, especially if you have no parents. A lot of these kids, have no parents. So I need to tell industry, and they need to figure out that if they don't, I'm the one that's out there doing all the work to get the kids to the scholarship to get them into the trade school. I will work for free, but they need to help me support this financially. They need to start putting their money where their mouths are. Pretty much what it is. You know, and I always tell people too, I know I'm in New Hampshire. I don't want just a sponsor. I want a partner. What my partner is, we're doing an event this weekend. I want as many of my sponsors to be there underneath my tent talking about what they do. I have a guy that's he's a sponsor, and he owns a small, what's it called? Not engine, motor company. They rewind motors. Mm-hmm. I said, hey, bring some motors, bring some people, set up a table. It's a trade fair. You might be able to find a kid that wants to come work for you. So it's not about just giving me money. It's about coming there and helping me explain to these parents what your job is. You know, so that's what I want. It's, yes, we need money, but I want to grow this to where it's one huge bring back the trades together.
I mean, on top of that, like motor winding, man,
No,
that is that is a lost art and skill to wind motors. So for those of you who don't know, basically any electric motor, which is pretty much in any manufacturing facility, they're all electric motors.
Yep.
These things are cast iron. They're heavy as all get out. Even like a 2 pound, 2 horse motor
Yep.
is going to be like 60 pounds. I mean, these things are
Yeah.
heavy, they're big, they're
And
massive.
and the cool thing is I went to Torres plant. They do everything. They build the
Oh, wow.
cases, they do the winding, they do it all. And I'm telling you, it's like a size of a mall, but I could have stayed there for a day. I mean, they have somebody painting them, winding them. I mean, it is so cool to watch this stuff. And these people, and there's a lot of women doing this, they're getting paid very well to do these jobs. And that's another thing, you know, that's another mission I've been trying to do since day one. I'm really trying to educate the young females of the trades. I know sometimes it's hard because the girls don't want to get involved, but I had the best news last year. We had more females apply for our scholarships than males. So
Wow.
it's starting to happen. And guess what the most popular trade that the girls are going into right now?
I couldn't tell you. I know civil engineering was the biggest or engineering discipline for women outside of like biology and chemistry. Or
It is
actually,
wel-
I think they were bigger, but
It's welding.
Welding.
wow.
Yep. And
That's
a lot
awesome.
of people are telling me because, you know, we all know that women are a little bit more intricate than guys and more patient and stuff like that. And a lot of the girls tell me that they love that, but they also like to put the helmet on and you get to create things when you're welding.
Yeah.
So the creative part that females have more than males. So I think that's part of it. But there's also, I'm sure you know Barbie the welder, right?
Barbie
there's
the
a lot of-
welder and
there's a
Ray
lot of female,
Ripple.
yeah, there's a lot of people out there that they're looking up to, and these girls are doing really good work. There's Tiffany that she's a friend of mine in California. She's actually teaching it in her school. So there's a lot of girls out there that are really good role models. And that's another thing I jump around, but I bring back to trades. What we're going to start doing is this summer, we're having our past scholarship winners that are now in the fields come back and do our events with us. Because what I would love to see is bring back the trades be run by kids. Not when I say kids, but you know, high school kids that are in the trades or people, the younger generation running Bring Back the Trades. Because
Sure.
if anybody is going to be successful at getting the kids back in the trades, I mean, how I know it's successful is I have 2 girls that came to my shows last year. Kids will come up, they'll get my brochure, they'll talk to me for about 30 seconds, and then move on. When the girls are there or the guys are there, it's 20 minutes long, the conversation, because the parents can ask the question, how long is your schooling? How much was it? What's your day like? What now that you're in a job, they can answer all those questions. Unfortunately, I have knowledge, but not really all the knowledge. So by having it run by the kids, I think it's just going to be a lot better.
No, I think that's a great idea. So what I'm hearing is, you know, the private donations are great.
Yep.
I know how that works. You know, the
Yep.
$10, the $20, $1,000, that's
Yep.
fantastic. And
Yep.
I'm sure it's much appreciated.
Yep.
But you need the heavy hitters.
Yep.
You need the Trains and Lennox and Carriers and
Yep.
Milwaukee's and DeWalt. And have you been able to approach?
Like I said, you know, that's why I don't usually use my running, but if somebody says, you know, if I give you this, are you going to do something with it? I'll be like, okay, do I stop?
Yeah.
I will get you what you're, you know, because a lot of people say, well, you're just a small entity. I'm like, yeah, well, I was once just a hat. So, you know, we all start somewhere. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. Have you reached out to any of these, any larger firms, and how has it been received?
It hasn't been received. Basically, I don't get to the person I really need to get to.
Okay.
And that's the problem with you. We all know, I'm sure you know, in business or having a nonprofit, if you don't reach the right person, nothing ever happens.
Absolutely.
That's why I've gotten so many donations from smaller companies because I'm actually talking to the owner.
Yeah.
But when I mean, I've been with a couple of big companies. Timberland has been really good with me, but that's not a finance. I mean, it's a great sponsorship, but it's not financial. In order for
Sure.
me to keep going, and making this bigger, you need the bigger donations, which I'm sure you know all about.
Yeah. So how can we help you? How can we and the listeners, how can we help you get in front of those
Well, it's
people?
all about, we all know the whole world's about connections. I just need to get to the right person. And like I said, I'm not being negative, because what I've done and how many, I just bought the trailer. I've given out 26 scholarships on, a friend of mine calls it grassroots. So I'm very happy with what we've done, but I want to see it grow to where we're giving out full boat scholarships. I'm going around and telling parents, sitting down with them and explaining, we need to get, the trade schools need to get back into the high schools. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I'm willing to, I don't care how long this race is going to take, because I'll get to the end of this eventually, but we need to bring the kids back into the classrooms, into the high schools, into the construction part, the plumbing part. Until we make that more widespread as far as high schools, we're not going to fix our problem. Because kids need to learn. You can't, once they're out of high school, that's another thing. Small business owners, the mom and pops with 3 or 4 people, they can't take on somebody and train them because they don't have time. They just don't. I mean, there might be that 1 or 2 kids or, girls that are really talented that can learn quick, but they need to know what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, training someone in a skilled trade from zero. I mean, look at yourself. How long did it take you to learn how to do upholstery? It wasn't overnight.
No.
It's a process that takes years and years and years. And to get someone coming out of a trade school or an apprenticeship program that already has at least a foundation,
Yep.
then you have something really tangible to work with and really beneficial. So I get it.
I also think, my wife, she runs an elementary school. And I also think that we need to get in there. High school to me is not a waste, don't get me wrong, but we need to plant the seed way before that. You know how I describe it? I don't, either one of you have kids?
I do.
Okay. So have you gone to Home Depot or anything like that and done the playhouse, the birdhouse and all that stuff?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So why is it that all parents take their kids to the beach, they build sand castles, they build the thing in the backyard, they do all of that. They want their kids doing that stuff. Then they get to middle school and it's pushed away. Then he gets to high school. No, don't do that. You got to go to college. So why is it we want them to be creative when they're younger, but then when they get older, we don't want them to be? It's bizarre.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of reasons, and I think we could go down a rabbit hole we would not climb out of if
Yeah, I know.
you get me going too far on
Yeah,
why
I know.
shop class got removed. But
Yep.
You're right. We have to normalize the trades. We have to get kids as young as possible to start immersing in it.
Yep.
And it's through what you're doing. It's through community education, through books. We as parents, or those of us that are parents, have to be also having those conversations. Take kids around.
Yep.
It's easy for me, right? My boys will jump in my truck and go to a job site anytime I'll let them. But there needs to be field trips. We've started hosting field trips and job shadows at our sites. And, it's a pain in the ass to bring in, 15-year-olds and get them all in hard hats and make them stand in line so they don't get hit by the crane, but they love it. And they're seeing it, and they're, it gets the wheels moving. And to do that younger and younger is only going to help this movement, this collective movement. What you're doing, what we're doing, we're all aiming towards the same target.
Exactly. Like somebody will say, hey, I saw this scholarship, I just want to talk about it. I know it's competition. I'm like, there's no competition here. We work together because I can't give out as much money as I want. So if there's another scholarship, we're not in competition. We're all here to help. We're all here to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Well, with that, Steve, where can people go if they want to donate?
Yep. So bringbackthetrades.org is our website. And then we also are on LinkedIn at Bring Back the Trades, and we're on YouTube at Bring Back the Trades, and Instagram at Bring Back the Trades. So we have full line of apparel, which is where we sell. So we have t-shirts, hoodies, bumper stickers, all kinds of stuff. And this one, I was very My wife says it's the most brilliant thing that I've ever done in my life. And I'm like, I've done a couple of brilliant. So I don't know if you can read that. It says
I like it.
proud parent of a trade student. So I came up with that because I'm like, you know what? You see all these college stickers? So I came up with that. That's on my store. So I'm trying to, well, I'm giving those out to events and stuff like that. I'm just trying to bring back the respect to the trades. I mean, we all know there's a stigma there. But it's, it's hard work, but we're all doing it together.
Well, we appreciate the work immensely, Steve. You're spearheading a movement that needs to happen. It's needed to happen for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could tell people if I don't succeed, we're in trouble.
We are.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any last comments, Steve?
No, I'm just very thankful for you two to give me the mic and the time here to talk about my bring back the trades and my little running thing.
It's not little running, it's huge running. Let's get that.
No, but it's, and I know you probably don't believe it, but to me, I just get more. I have a friend of mine, I won't go down this hole again, but I have a friend of mine that had asthma and he just wanted to start running and he literally couldn't run from telephone pole to telephone. That was 2 years ago. He just finished a 50-mile race. And I'm telling you, I just get more pleasure out of seeing other people succeed. I just do.
Well, it shows your mentality and what you're all about. So that's core values at its finest.
Yep. It's like when I get a scholarship winner and I call them up, it's happened to me twice. And they actually, both were females, and they both were crying so bad that they said that their last bill had just come in. They didn't know how to pay it. And without that scholarship, they might not have graduated and gone into their field. So just hearing that, it's like, okay, this is done deal. Because, as you get older, sometimes you look at $1,000 like it's no big deal. Believe me, I've been poor. I know what $1,000 is, but that just changed her life. And it's it just changed her life. And I'm hoping now that she graduates, she gets into a job. That could have been the turning point. That $1,000 could have been the turning point. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that could be said on that right now, but you never know when that one stranger is going to make one decision that literally changed lives for the good forever.
Yeah,
and that's what you're doing.
And that's how Bring Back the Trades got started. The one person, the second person. I mean, this wouldn't be here today if that guy didn't come in my office, and then the other friends say, do the scholarship. So it's all the stars were aligned, Absolutely.
Well, Steve, I can tell you that Schaefer Construction will be making a donation after we hang up here, but I really appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate what you're doing, and hopefully we can have you back sometime to get an update on your progress.
Absolutely. Thank you both for having me.
Yeah, and Cowabunga Studios will donate as well. On top of that, Steve, thank you for coming. Thank you for doing the good work that you're doing. Changing people's lives is very accurate here. Giving them a completely different trajectory than they might have had otherwise with the scholarships, with the knowledge and information of just what the trade can do, of your work, and getting out and letting people know that it's more than swinging a hammer or turning a wrench, from winding motors to upholstering cars, to painting, to bodywork, to welding, to carpentry, to all the things that we know go into the trades, the controls, to fixing pool heaters.
And I'll leave it on this note. With the climate of the country we're in right now, where nobody can get along, I am telling you, I've been out there since 2017. No matter where I go, there is not a negative thing said about Bring Back the Trades. I have a father that's in the trades. It's all positive stuff. That's why I love it, because no matter where I go, people are supporting me. Everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's like, oh, I want to help you. Where can you go in the world right now and have that much support? It's just, you can't.
Yeah.
No. And I'm sure that you get a lot of, oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
It's probably one of the biggest things. Oh, I didn't know how much they made. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing you could do. Oh, I didn't know there was school. Oh,
and
I didn't.
And I'll make a joke here because it's the truth. But the one thing that I heard that was negative, there was this one I wouldn't say old timer, but I'll say old timer if it's a bad thing to say nowadays. I don't know, but would keep coming up to my events and you're never going to get these young kids to do this. And that's everywhere I go. I would see that. I would hear the same thing from the same guy. So one day I said, hey, can I ask you a question? He's like, yeah. How many employees you got? Like 5. So you don't have any young kids? Yeah, they come up and, I talk to them and they don't want to work. And I'm like, have you looked in the mirror? He's like, he goes, what? I says, the way you're talking, you're so negative. Nobody's going to want to work for you until you talk positive about the trades. You're never, he was just so negative. But that was the only thing negative that I've ever had said to me was these kids are never going to work. I'm like, well, they're not going to work for you because you're negative.
Too true.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, thank you again so much for coming on. We appreciate it. And guys, go check out the swag or donate to bring back the trades, doing some great work and really spreading some education across the country. Hopefully we can get more people involved here with you, Steve, and your organization. And we'll continue to bring on people that are doing it, like the Construction Education Industry Foundation that we've had on, and these other organizations that are really spreading the word on, construction and the trades. And it's not just construction, it is building things, but it's from cars to motors to manufacturing to basically anything that we have in the environment around us. So guys, continue to spread the word on just trades and building and construction and all the environments that go around that we live in and work in and bring people together around. So you never find better environments than a job site or a manufacturing facility. That's for sure. So again, Steve, thank you so much for coming on. And that's going to be this episode of the Construction Corner podcast. Until next time.